Ethel Taylor walked into Beaumont and Carlisle Fine Jewelry on a Tuesday afternoon in late September with 3 months of carefully saved tips from her job as a museum docent and a specific mission: buy a gold bracelet for her grandmother's 80th birthday. She'd researched this store for weeks, knew they carried the exact vintage-style pieces her grandmother loved, knew the prices were at the absolute ceiling of what she could afford if she skipped groceries for 2 weeks. What Ethel didn't know was that the store's senior consultant, a woman named Vivian Laurent with 20 years of experience selling to Los Angeles' elite, had already decided Ethel didn't belong there the moment she walked through the door. And when Ethel pointed to a delicate gold filigree bracelet in the display case, the one that cost exactly $2,847, the amount she'd saved, Vivian looked at Ethel's deep brown skin, looked at the bracelet, and said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, "I'm afraid that piece wouldn't suit you, dear. Gold doesn't complement darker skin tones. Perhaps we have something in silver? More appropriate for your complexion." The words landed like a slap. Ethel felt every other customer in the store turn to look, felt her dignity crumbling, felt 3 months of sacrifice reduced to her skin color being wrong for the metal she'd chosen. She was gathering the fragments of her composure, preparing to leave with whatever pride she had left when the door chimed behind her. And Luo Yong Choi, tattooed Korean Mafia boss, Ethel's secret boyfriend of 6 months, the man she'd been too nervous to introduce to her traditional family, walked in looking for the woman he loved. What he heard Vivian say to Ethel made something cold and terrifying settle over his features. What he did next didn't just humiliate a prejudiced jeweler. It created a moment that would be talked about in Los Angeles luxury circles for years. Because when you insult Luo Yong Choi's woman, you don't just lose a sale. You lose everything. And Vivian Laurent was about to learn that the hard way. Before you assume this is just a satisfying revenge story, understand something. Ethel didn't want Luo Yong to fight her battles. She's a strong, independent woman who'd been handling discrimination her whole life. And Luo Yong? He's not a hero. He's a criminal whose first instinct is violence. What he does in that jewelry store is problematic, excessive, and absolutely devastating. Hit subscribe because what happens when a woman's dignity meets a mafia boss's protective rage is the kind of beautiful destruction you can't look away from. This gets worse before it gets better. And by worse, I mean absolutely satisfying. Ethel Taylor had been dating Luo Yong Choi for exactly 6 months, 2 weeks, and 4 days, and in all that time, she'd kept him carefully separated from every other part of her life. Not because she was ashamed. Luo Yong was beautiful, all lean muscle and ink and sharp cheekbones, with eyes that could freeze or melt depending on his mood. Smart, funny in a dark way, surprisingly gentle with her despite the violence that defined his world. But he was also a Korean mafia boss who ran half of LA's organized crime. And Ethel was a museum docent from a respectable black family who taught her that you dated doctors and lawyers, not men with Yakuza-style tattoos and blood on their hands. So she kept Luo Yong's secret, met him at his penthouse or neutral locations, never brought him home, never introduced him to her grandmother, her mother, her 2 younger sisters. Told herself it was temporary, that eventually she'd figure out how to reconcile loving a criminal with being the good daughter her family expected. Today was supposed to be simple. Buy grandmother's birthday present. Avoid any complications. Get in and out of Beaumont and Carlisle before anyone she knew saw her spending money she didn't really have. Ethel pushed through the heavy glass doors at 2:47 p.m. and immediately fell out of place. The store was all marble floors and crystal chandeliers and hushed conversations between consultants and clients who looked like they belonged there. Women in designer clothes, men in custom suits, the kind of people for whom $3,000 was pocket change. Ethel wore a simple navy dress from Target and comfortable flats. Her natural hair was pulled back in a neat bun. She carried a worn leather purse that had been her mother's. She looked exactly like what she was, someone who'd saved for months to afford one piece from this store. A woman approached, mid-50s, perfectly styled blonde hair, a name tag that read, Vivian Laurent, senior consultant. Her smile was professional, but her eyes were assessing, taking in every detail of Ethel's appearance. "Good afternoon," How may I help you today? Ethel tried to project confidence she didn't feel. I'm looking for a bracelet. Gold. Vintage style. I saw one online. The filigree piece? Item number BG 4721. Vivian's smile didn't waver, but something shifted in her expression. Ah, that's a lovely piece. Quite popular. May I ask, is this a gift? Yes. For my grandmother's 80th birthday. How thoughtful. And what's your budget for this gift? The question was polite. The undertone wasn't. Ethel felt it immediately, the assumption that she couldn't actually afford anything here. I have cash. The exact amount. I researched the piece. $2,847. I see. Vivian gestured toward the display cases. Well, let me show you what we have. Though I should mention, that particular bracelet may not be the best choice. Why not? Well, Vivian paused, choosing her words carefully. Gold can be tricky. It doesn't suit everyone, particularly those with darker complexions. The warm tones tend to clash rather than complement. Ethel felt ice form in her stomach. I'm sorry. It's just professional advice, dear. Silver would be much more flattering. We have some lovely pieces that would work beautifully with. She gestured vaguely at Ethel. Your skin tone. More appropriate, you understand. Every person in the store seemed to freeze. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. Ethel felt heat flood her face. Felt every eye on her. Felt the humiliation of being reduced to her skin color in a store where she'd come prepared to spend her hard-earned money. I have the money, she said quietly, trying to maintain her dignity. I'd still like to see the bracelet. Vivian's professional mask slipped slightly. I'm sure you do, but as a consultant with 20 years of experience, I simply cannot in good conscience sell you a piece that won't flatter. It would be doing you a disservice. Now, silver. I don't want silver. I want the gold bracelet. The one I came here to buy? The one I've saved for. And I'm telling you it wouldn't suit. Perhaps you should consider more realistic option. Something in your price range that would actually be becoming. The emphasis on your price range made it crystal clear. This wasn't about aesthetics. This was about Vivian deciding that Ethel didn't belong in this store. That someone who looked like her, dressed like her, with her skin color, couldn't possibly be a legitimate customer for gold jewelry. Ethel felt tears prick her eyes. Refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of these people. Never mind, she said, her voice tight. I'll find it somewhere else. She turned toward the door, clutching her purse, trying to leave with whatever dignity she had left. The door chimed, and a voice she knew intimately said, Ethel. She froze. No, not here. Not now. She turned slowly to see Luo Young Choi standing in the doorway of Beaumont and Carlisle, holding a white bakery box from her favorite patisserie, looking confused and then concerned as he read the expression on her face. Luo Young was dressed casually, for him, which meant designer jeans and a black button-down that couldn't quite hide the tattoos curling up from his collar. His dark hair was styled back. He wore a watch that cost more than Ethel's car. He looked expensive, dangerous, and completely out of place in Ethel's carefully compartmentalized life. What are you doing here? Ethel asked, aware of every eye now shifting between her and this tattooed Korean man with obvious wealth. You mentioned this store. I finished my meetings early. Brought you those apricot things you like. He moved closer, his sharp eyes taking in her distress. What's wrong? What happened? Nothing. I was just leaving. You're upset. I'm fine. Luo Young's gaze shifted to Vivian, who'd gone very still. What did you say to her? Vivian's expression transformed, the condescension replaced by calculation as she reassessed the situation. This man was clearly wealthy, clearly connected to Ethel somehow, clearly someone she'd misread catastrophically. I was simply offering professional guidance, Vivian said smoothly, helping her find a piece that would truly flatter. What did you say? The temperature in the room dropped. Luo Young's voice was quiet, but carried an edge that made Vivian take an involuntary step back. I suggested that silver might be more appropriate for her skin tone. Gold can be difficult with darker complexions. Show me the bracelet she wanted. Sir, I really don't think. I don't care what you think. Show me the bracelet. Now. The command in his voice left no room for argument. Vivian, rattled, moved to the display case with shaking hands. Ethel grabbed Luo Yong's arm. Don't. Please. Let's just go. Not until I see what you came here to buy. Vivian retrieved the gold filigree bracelet. Delicate, beautiful, exactly what Ethel had wanted for her grandmother. Set it on the counter between them. Luo Yong examined it, then looked at Ethel, reached out, and held the bracelet against her wrist. It's perfect, he said. We'll take it. Of course, sir. I'll just. And everything else. Vivian blinked. I'm sorry. Every gold piece in this store. I'm buying all of it. The store went completely silent. Ethel stared at him. Luo Yong, what are you? Nobody talks to you like that. Nobody. Sir. Vivian tried again, her voice thin. That's. Our entire gold collection is worth millions. I'm aware. Luo Yong pulled out a black credit card that made Vivian's eyes widen. Is that a problem? Are you suggesting I can't afford it? No. No, of course not. I'll call the manager. Do that. And while you're at it, tell him why I'm buying out his store. Tell him exactly what you said to my girlfriend about her skin being wrong for gold. Vivian went pale. Within 2 minutes, a man in an expensive suit appeared from the back office. Aldrich Beaumont, owner of Beaumont and Carlyle, approaching with concern and recognition on his face. He knew who Luo Yong Choi was. Everyone in LA's luxury business knew. And everyone knew you didn't cross him. Mr. Choi, this is unexpected, Vivian mentioned. He glanced at Ethel, then at Vivian, and his expression hardened. May I ask what happened? Your consultant told my girlfriend that gold doesn't suit darker skin tones, that she should buy silver instead. More appropriate for her complexion, apparently. Aldrich's face went ashen. Ms. Laurent, is this true? Vivian tried to defend herself. I was offering professional advice. You were being racist, Luo Yong said flatly. And now I'm buying every gold piece in your store. Consider it a lesson in customer service. Mr. Choi, please, let me apologize. I don't want an apology. I want every gold piece you have, and I want it delivered to this address. He pulled out his phone, sent information to Aldrich. Today? All of it. Ethel tried one more time. Luo Yong, you don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Over the next 30 minutes, Ethel watched in stunned silence as Luo Yong systematically purchased every gold item in Beaumont and Carlyle. Necklaces, bracelets, rings, earrings, watches. The staff moved frantically, cataloging pieces, processing the sale. The final total, $4.7 million. Luo Yong paid without blinking. Then he turned to Vivian, who looked like she might be sick. You're fired, he said calmly. And I'm making sure every luxury store in Los Angeles knows what you said today. Your career in high-end retail? Over. You can't, Vivian started. Aldrich cut her off. Pack your things, Ms. Laurent. You're done. Effective immediately. As they were leaving, Luo Yong stopped at the door. Looked back at Aldrich. One more thing. I want security footage of this interaction. All of it. And I want confirmation that Ms. Laurent has been terminated. You have 2 hours. You'll have it. Aldrich promised, looking at Ethel with something like shame. And Miss Taylor, I am profoundly sorry. This is not what Beaumont and Carlyle stands for. Isn't it? Ethel said quietly. Because your consultant seemed very comfortable saying those things. Which makes me wonder how often it happens to people who don't walk in with a mafia boss. She left before Aldrich could respond. Outside, in the bright California sunshine, Ethel finally let herself react. What did you just do? She asked, her voice shaking. Handled it. You spent $5 million. $4.7 million. And it's worth it. Luo Yong, my family is going to find out. About us. About this. About everything. He studied her face. You're upset that I defended you? I'm upset that my secret relationship just became very public. I'm upset that you made a scene. I'm upset about that, she stopped. That you were right. That it felt good to watch her face when she realized what she'd done. And I hate that I feel that way. Luo Yong pulled her close. Right there on Rodeo Drive, in front of everyone. She hurt you. I made sure she regretted it. That's what I do for the people I love. By throwing money at the problem? By making the consequences real. She thought she could treat you that way without punishment. Now she knows better. So does everyone else in that store. In every store. Word spreads fast in luxury retail. No one will hire her after this. Ethel pulled back. Good. She deserves it. But Luo Yong, my family. My mother lives 3 blocks from me. When those deliveries start arriving, then we deal with it. Together. I'm done hiding, Ethel. And I think you are too. He was right. As terrifying as it was, part of Ethel felt relieved. The secret was out. For better or worse, the world now knew she was with Luo Yong Choi. And there was no going back. The deliveries started at 6 p.m. First truck, jewelry boxes wrapped in Beaumont and Carlisle's signature silver paper. Second truck, 30 minutes later, more boxes. More gold. By 7:30 p.m., Ethel's small apartment looked like a high-end jewelry store had exploded inside it. Her neighbors noticed. Mrs. Chun from downstairs knocked to ask if everything was okay. Mr. Reynolds from across the hall stared openly as movers carried in box after box. And inevitably, Lorraine Taylor, Ethel's mother, who lived exactly 3 blocks away and had a sixth sense for when her daughters were in trouble, appeared at 8 p.m. demanding an explanation. Ethel Marie Taylor, what in God's name is happening? Mrs. Chin called me saying there were delivery trucks outside your building. I thought. She stopped mid-sentence, staring at the gold jewelry covering every surface. What is all this? Ethel, sitting on her couch surrounded by millions of dollars in gold, looked at her mother and knew the reckoning had arrived. It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Now. So Ethel explained. About Luo Yong. About dating him for 6 months. About keeping it secret. About the jewelry store. About everything. Lorraine's expression cycled through shock, disbelief, horror, and finally settled on profound disappointment. You're dating a gangster. He's more than that. Is he a criminal? Does he hurt people? Does he run illegal operations? Yes, but then he's a gangster. Ethel, how could you? After everything we taught you? After everything our family stands for? After we worked so hard to build respectability? Mom, he loves me. And I love him. That has to count for something. Love. Lorraine's voice rose. You think love is enough when he's putting you in danger? When he's dragging you into his world? When he's, she gestured at the gold. When he's throwing money around like this solves problems? He defended me. That jeweler was racist. She said gold didn't suit dark skin. And Luo Yong made sure she paid for it. By spending millions? By making a spectacle? By exposing you to his world? Lorraine sat heavily on the couch. Baby, I understand you think you love him. But men like that, they don't change. They bring violence. They bring danger. And I can't, her voice broke. I can't lose you to that world. Ethel felt tears building. You're not losing me. I'm still me. I'm still your daughter. I'm with someone who maybe isn't what you wanted for me, but who makes me happy. For how long? Until his enemies target you? Until you're caught in crossfire? Until you have to choose between him and your family? I won't have to choose. You're my family. He's my future. Both can be true. Lorraine stood. No, they can't. Not with men like him. You're choosing, Ethel. Him or us. Because I won't watch you destroy your life for a criminal. Mom, please. End it. Or don't come home. Don't call. Don't involve your sisters or your grandmother in this mess. Choose. She left before Ethel could respond. Ethel sat alone in her apartment, surrounded by gold jewelry she'd never wanted, and cried. For her mother's disappointment. For the family rift she'd created. For the impossible choice she was facing. When Luo Yong called an hour later, she almost didn't answer. But she did. Are you okay? He asked immediately. My mother knows. About us. She's furious. She wants me to end it, or she'll cut me off from the family. Luo Yong was quiet for a long moment. What do you want to do? I don't know. I love you. But my family, they're everything. And asking me to choose between you feels impossible. Then don't choose. I'll stay away. We can end this quietly. You can have your family back. Is that what you want? I want you to be happy. If that means letting you go, I'll do it. Ethel thought about living without Luo Yong. About going back to her safe, respectable life. About never feeling the way he made her feel. No, she said. I'm not ending this. But Luo Yong, I need you to understand. My family matters. And if we're doing this, you have to meet them. Actually meet them. Not as the man who bought millions in gold, but as my boyfriend. As someone who wants to be part of my life completely. Your mother won't want to meet me. Probably not. But my grandmother will. And if Odessa approves, my mother will come around. Eventually. And if she doesn't approve, then we deal with it. Together. Okay. When? This weekend. Family dinner at my grandmother's house. Are you ready for that? Luo Yong laughed, dark and nervous. I've faced rival gangs. Survived turf wars. Negotiated with people who wanted me dead. But meeting your grandmother? That's terrifying. Good. You should be terrified. Odessa Taylor doesn't suffer fools. Then I better not be one. They talked for another hour. About her mother's ultimatum. About the gold jewelry still filling her apartment. About what came next. Finally, Ethel asked, why did you do it? Really? The 5 million. 4.7. The excessive amount of money. Why? Because watching someone diminish you made me violent. And I can't actually hurt her. You'd hate that. So I hurt her career. Her reputation. Made sure she understands that treating people that way has consequences. It was excessive. It was necessary. For me. I needed everyone in that store to know. You don't get to treat Ethel Taylor that way. Not without answering me. I don't need a protector. I know. But you have one anyway. Whether you want it or not. Ethel smiled despite everything. You're impossible. You're worth the impossible. After they hung up, Ethel looked at the gold surrounding her and made a decision. She'd sell most of it. Donate the proceeds to organizations fighting racial discrimination. Keep only the bracelet for her grandmother and maybe one piece for herself. A reminder of the day her secret relationship became public. The day her mother gave her an ultimatum. The day she chose Luo Yong despite the cost. Whether it was the right choice remained to be seen. But it was her choice. And she was keeping it. Luo Yong just spent $4.70 million on gold jewelry because someone was racist to his girlfriend, and Ethel's mother responded by giving her an ultimatum. The criminal boyfriend or the family. No pressure. Ethel chose the boyfriend, which means Saturday's family dinner with her grandmother is going to be spectacular in the worst possible way. Grandmother Odessa is about to meet a tattooed Korean mafia boss who thinks throwing money at problems is love language. This will go smoothly. Definitely smoothly. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned. Saturday arrived with the weight of judgment. Odessa Taylor's house in View Park was everything Ethel's apartment wasn't. Spacious, elegant, filled with family photos and evidence of a life well lived. Odessa had been a school principal for 35 years. Widowed young, she'd raised 3 children alone and instilled in all of them the importance of education, respectability, and dignity. Meeting her approval was everything. Losing it was unthinkable. Ethel arrived early to help with dinner preparation and warn her grandmother about Luo Yong. Odessa listened in her kitchen, chopping vegetables with practiced precision, her expression unreadable. So you've been dating this man for 6 months and never mentioned him. I knew you'd react like Mom did. With disappointment. I'm more disappointed you lied than about who you're dating. Though I have questions about that too. Odessa paused her chopping. Tell me about him. Not what he does. Who he is. Ethel thought about how to describe Luo Yong. He's brilliant. Strategic. He reads philosophy and listens to classical music and makes me laugh. He's gentle with me despite being violent in his work. He's protective without being controlling. And he loves me in a way that feels, she struggled for words. Feels absolute. Like I'm the most important thing in his world. And the criminal part. He runs an organization. I don't ask for details. But he's honest about what he does. Never lies to me. Never pretend he's something he's not. Does he put you in danger? Not intentionally. But his world is dangerous. I'm aware of that. Odessa resumed chopping. Your mother thinks you're making a terrible mistake. I know. Your sisters think you're being reckless. I know that too. What do you think? Ethel considered the question honestly. I think I'm in love with someone complicated. Someone my family won't approve of. Someone who makes my life harder just by being in it. But I also think he's worth it. And I want you to meet him and decide for yourself. Fair enough. What time is he arriving? 6. With everyone else. Good. I want to see how he handles your mother's hostility. That'll tell me more than any private conversation. At 5:45, the family started arriving. Lorraine first, still furious, barely speaking to Ethel. Then Keisha and Nia, Ethel's younger sisters, curious and wary. Keisha pulled Ethel aside. Is he really a mafia boss? Yes. Like actual organized crime? Yes. That's either the coolest or stupidest thing you've ever done. Could be both. Nia was more direct. Mom says we're supposed to be cold to him. Make him feel unwelcome so you'll break up. Are you going to? I'm going to decide for myself. But Ethel, if he hurts you, I'll kill him. Criminal or not. Noted. At exactly 6 p.m., the doorbell rang. Ethel opened it to find Luo Yong in a perfectly tailored suit, his tattoos covered, carrying an expensive wine and a bouquet of flowers. He looked nervous. Ready? She asked. Absolutely not. Let's do this anyway. The family was gathered in Odessa's living room. Lorraine on the couch, arms crossed. Keisha and Nia flanking her. Odessa in her armchair, assessing. Ethel made introductions. Everyone, this is Luo Yong Choi. Luo Yong, my family. My mother Lorraine, my sisters Keisha and Nia, and my grandmother Odessa. Luo Yong bowed slightly, respectful but not subservient. Thank you for allowing me into your home, Mrs. Taylor. It's an honor to meet Ethel's family. Odessa gestured to a chair. Sit, Mr. Choi. Let's talk. What followed was the most intense interrogation Ethel had ever witnessed. Odessa asked direct questions. No pretense. No politeness. What do you do for a living? Luo Yong didn't lie. I run several businesses in Los Angeles. Some are legitimate. Restaurants, real estate. Others are not. I won't insult you by pretending I'm just a businessman. So you're a criminal. Yes, ma'am. And you think you're good enough for my granddaughter? No. But I love her. And I'll spend every day trying to be worthy of her. Love isn't enough when you're putting her in danger. I protect what's mine. Ethel will never be in danger because I won't allow it. Odessa's expression sharpened. She's not a possession. I didn't mean it that way. I meant, Luo Yong paused, choosing words carefully. She's part of my life now. The most important part. And I protect my life absolutely. Lorraine interjected. Protection? You're a criminal. You attract violence. How is that protecting her? By making sure that violence never touches her. By being more dangerous than anyone who might threaten her. That's not reassurance. That's a threat. It's reality. Luo Yong met Lorraine's hostile gaze. I understand your concern. I'm not what you wanted for Ethel. I represent everything you've taught your daughters to avoid. But I'm here anyway. Because I love her. And because she asked me to meet her family. So I'm trying. Even though I know you'd prefer I disappear. I would, Lorraine said coldly. My daughter deserves better than a gangster. Probably. But she chose me anyway. And I'm grateful for that every day. Keisha spoke up. The jewelry store. Mom told us what you did. That was a lot. Someone disrespected Ethel. I made sure they regretted it. By spending millions? By making consequences real. Money was just the tool. Nia leaned forward. And if someone threatens her in a way money can't fix, what then? Then I use other tools. Whatever's necessary. Violence. If required. And that doesn't bother you? Hurting people. Luo Yong was quiet for a moment. It bothers me less than the alternative. Which is Ethel being hurt and me doing nothing. Odessa had been watching silently. Now she spoke. Mr. Choi, my granddaughter is brilliant. Educated. Has a bright future. What you did at that jewelry store, buying millions in gold because someone was racist, that was impressive in its way. Excessive, but impressive. However, throwing money at problems doesn't solve them. If you're serious about Ethel, you need to understand something. Our family has worked hard to build respectability, to escape stereotypes, to be taken seriously in a world that doesn't take black people seriously. And you, she gestured at him. You represent everything we've tried to distance ourselves from. Criminal activity, violence, exactly the stereotypes we fight against. Luo Yong listened without interrupting. I'm not asking you to change who you are, Odessa continued. But I am asking you to understand what you're asking of Ethel. By being with you, she's choosing a harder path. Choosing judgment. Choosing to defend a relationship everyone will question. And she'll bear that burden more than you will. So my question is, are you worth that burden? Are you worth what you're asking her to sacrifice? The room was silent. Luo Yong looked at Ethel, then back to Odessa. Honestly, I don't know. I hope so. But I'm not sure. What I do know is that I love your granddaughter more than I've loved anything. And I'll spend every day proving I'm worth her choice. That's all I can promise. That I'll try. Every single day. Odessa studied him for a long moment. I'll be watching, Mr. Choi. And if you hurt her, if your world touches her in ways she can't recover from, I will make sure you regret it. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Good. Now, dinner's ready. Ethel, help me in the kitchen. In the kitchen, Odessa said quietly. He's not what I would have chosen for you. I know, but he's honest. And he clearly loves you. That's more than a lot of respectable men offer. So you're okay with this? I'm accepting reality. You've chosen him. I can either support you or lose you. I'm choosing support. But Ethel, be careful. Love isn't enough when danger is involved. Make sure he's worth what you're sacrificing. He is. I hope you're right. Dinner was tense, but civil. Lorraine barely spoke. Keisha and Nia asked Luo Yong questions ranging from curious to challenging. Odessa watched everything. By the end of the evening, no one was comfortable. But the ice had cracked slightly. As they were leaving, Lorraine pulled Ethel aside one last time. This won't end well. Men like him, they bring violence. I just hope you survive it. Ethel didn't respond, just hugged her mother and left. In the car, Luo Yong exhaled. That was brutal. You survived. Barely. Your grandmother is terrifying. She liked you, relatively speaking. How do you know? She let you live. That's approval in Odessa terms. Luo Yong laughed, took Ethel's hand. Thank you for making me do this, for not hiding me anymore. Thank you for showing up, even knowing they'd hate you. I'd face worse for you. I know. That's what scares me. But as they drove through Los Angeles toward Luo Yong's penthouse, Ethel felt lighter. The secret was out. Her family knew. And while they didn't approve, they hadn't completely rejected her either. It was a start. A small, fragile start. But it was something. Luo Yong just survived dinner with Ethel's grandmother and lived to tell the tale. Odessa gave him the "hurt my granddaughter and I'll destroy you" speech, which in Black family dynamics basically means conditional acceptance. Progress. Lorraine still hates him, but that's expected. The sisters are intrigued. And Ethel's realizing that choosing Luo Yong means her family will tolerate him but never truly embrace him. Which is fine. Totally fine. Everything's fine. Until it's not. Stay tuned and hit the subscribe button for when Luo Yong's criminal world crashes spectacularly into Ethel's normal life. 2 weeks after the family dinner, Ethel was starting to believe things might work out. Lorraine was still cold, but had stopped demanding Ethel end the relationship. Keisha and Nia texted occasionally, asking about the Korean Mafia boyfriend, with a mix of concern and fascination. Odessa checked in weekly. Ethel had sold most of the gold jewelry, donated the proceeds, nearly $4 million, to organizations fighting racial discrimination in retail and housing. The gesture made headlines. Interviews. Recognition. She kept the original bracelet for Odessa's birthday, and one piece for herself, a delicate gold necklace Luo Yong had specifically chosen from the collection. She wore it daily. Reminder of the day everything changed. Life felt almost normal. Museum work during the day. Evenings with Luo Yong. Slow integration of their separate worlds. Then Luo Yong's security team discovered something that shattered the illusion of safety. He called Ethel on a Wednesday evening, his voice tight. We need to talk. Can you come to the penthouse? What's wrong? Not over the phone. Please. Just come. 30 minutes later, Ethel sat in Luo Yong's living room while he paced. My security team has been investigating the jewelry store incident. Standard procedure when anything public happens involving me. They found something. What? Vivian Laurent wasn't just a racist consultant. She was connected to the Kong family. Ethel frowned. Who are they? My primary rival organization in L.A., Korean Syndicate. We've been in territorial disputes for years. Aldrich Beaumont, the store owner, has been laundering money for them. And Vivian? Was their plant. The racism, it wasn't random prejudice. It was calculated. Ethel felt cold. What do you mean calculated? They've been watching me. Notice my relationship with you. Planted Vivian to create an incident. They wanted to either drive us apart or force me to reveal the relationship publicly. Make you a known weakness. A target. So when she said those things about my skin, she was trying to provoke a reaction. And I gave her exactly what she wanted. I made you visible. Made you a target my enemies could use. Ethel stood, moved to the window. So that whole thing was about you? Not even about actual racism. It was both. Vivian is genuinely prejudiced. We confirmed that. But the Kangs used her existing racism as a weapon. Put her in that position, knowing I'd react violently if anyone hurt you. How long have they known about me? At least 2 months. Maybe longer. Ethel felt violated. Everything that happened. The humiliation, the public scene, your grand gesture. All of it was orchestrated? Yes. And I was just a pawn? A tool to manipulate you. You were their target. And I made it worse by reacting exactly as they predicted. Ethel turned to face him. What happens now? Are they going to come after me? I don't know. That's what we're trying to determine. But Ethel, you need to understand. You're not safe anymore. My enemies know you matter to me. That makes you valuable. As leverage. As a way to hurt me. So what do? Hide. Run. You let me protect you. How? Stay here. In the penthouse. Where I can keep you safe. For how long? Until I handle the Kangs. Handle them how? Luo Yong didn't answer. Didn't need to. Ethel knew what handle meant in his world. No, she said. No. I'm not hiding. I'm not letting them disrupt my life. Ethel, they threatened you. They used me. There's a difference. And I won't give them the satisfaction of making me hide. This isn't about satisfaction. This is about keeping you alive. By locking me in a cage? By making me dependent on your protection? That's exactly what they want. They want me to be your weakness. You are my weakness. Luo Yong's voice rose. You're the only thing in this world I can't afford to lose. So yes, I'm going to lock you in a cage if that's what keeps you safe. They stared at each other, both breathing hard, both terrified. Finally, Ethel said quietly, if I let fear control me, they win. If I stop living my life, they win. I won't give them that power. Then you're being reckless. Then I'm being me. And you need to decide if you can accept that. Luo Yong ran a hand through his hair. I can't lose you. You won't. But you also can't control me. We're partners, or we're nothing. Partners who keep each other alive. Yes. They compromised. Ethel would continue her normal life. Work, family, routine. But with discreet security. Guards she wouldn't see, but who'd be there. It felt like a violation of her independence. But it also felt necessary. Because that night, someone broke into Ethel's apartment. She wasn't there. Was staying at Luo Yong's temporarily. But they left a message. Spray painted on her bedroom wall. Beautiful collection. Would be a shame if something happened to it. Or to you. Luo Yong's security team found it first. Called him immediately. When he told Ethel, she finally understood the danger was real. I can't go back there, she said, staring at photos of her violated space. No, you're staying here. And I'm handling the Kangs. Permanently. What does that mean? It means I'm ending this threat. Whatever it takes. Luo Yong, please don't. Don't do something you can't come back from. Not for me. He pulled her close. I'd do anything for you. Including things I can't come back from. That's when Ethel realized. Loving Luo Yong meant accepting that people would try to hurt him. It was no longer theoretical. It was painted on her bedroom wall. And the question was, could she live with that reality? Could she love someone knowing his enemies were now hers? She didn't know. But she was about to find out. Living in Luo Yong's penthouse felt like luxury and imprisonment combined. Everything Ethel needed was provided. But she couldn't leave without security. Couldn't visit her family without armed guards. Couldn't live her normal life. She tried to maintain routine. Worked remotely for the museum. Video called her grandmother. Texted her sisters. But the walls were closing in. Meanwhile, Luo Yong was planning. Ethel overheard him on calls. Words like elimination and permanent solution and send a message. She knew what he was planning. Knew his first instinct was violence. 3 days after the break-in, she confronted him. You're going to kill people. Over me. I'm going to eliminate threats. That's different. It's really not, Luo Yong. Killing is killing. They threatened you. They invaded your space. They made it clear you're a target. What would you have me do? Find a solution that doesn't involve murder. There isn't one. This is my world. This is how things work. Then maybe your world is the problem. Maybe I can't be part of a world where the solution to everything is violence. The argument escalated. Ethel threatened to leave. Luo Yong is desperate to protect her. Both terrified and furious. Finally, Ethel said, If you kill people over me, I'm done. I can't. I can't be with someone who solves problems that way, even if it's meant to protect me. Luo Yong went very still. You're asking me to let them threaten you and do nothing? I'm asking you to find another way. Be creative. Be strategic. Be anything except violent. And if there is no other way, then you decide what matters more, your methods or me. She left him standing in his office, staring at the city below. For the first time since they'd met, Luo Yong faced a problem violence couldn't solve. Because the woman he loved had drawn a line, and crossing it meant losing her. He called a meeting with his second-in-command, Take-Q. I need an alternative. To war with the Kangs. Something that doesn't involve killing anyone. Take-Q stared at him. Boss, they threatened your woman. The response is clear. The response is what Ethel will accept. Find another way. There isn't another way. This is our world. We don't negotiate with rivals. Then we change the rules. What do they want? Territory? Money? What can we offer that makes threatening Ethel not worth it? Take-Q thought. They want the West Side operations. Gambling, protection. Worth about 30 million a year. Done. Offer it. Boss, I don't care what it costs. Set up a meeting. Tell them I want peace. Tell them I'm willing to pay for it. 3 days later, Luo Yong sat across from Daewon Kong, leader of the rival organization, in a neutral location. You're offering me the West Side, Daewon said, disbelieving. Why? Because I want a binding agreement. In writing. Witnessed. That says Ethel Taylor is untouchable. Forever. By anyone in your organization. Over a woman? You're giving up 30 million a year over a woman. Yes. Daewon laughed. The rumors were true. You've gone soft. Call it what you want. Do we have a deal or not? Daewon studied him. You really love her that much? Yes. What if I say no? What if I keep her as leverage? Luo Yong's expression went cold. Then we go to war? Complete war. And I burn your organization to the ground, starting with you. So you can take 30 million a year in guaranteed revenue and peace. Or you can have war that destroys us both. Choose. The threat was real. Daewon saw it. I want 40 million. And Beaumont and Carlyle shut down. Aldrich prosecuted. His laundering exposed. Luo Yong didn't hesitate. Done. Within a week, the deal was finalized. 40 million in territory and revenue transferred to the Kong organization. Anonymous tips sent to federal agents about Beaumont's money laundering. Aldrich was arrested. The jewelry store closed permanently. And a binding agreement. Ethel Taylor was off limits. Untouchable. By anyone connected to the Kong family. When Luo Yong told Ethel what he'd done, she cried. You gave up your empire. Part of it. For me, I gave up money. It's not the same thing. It cost you millions. It cost me nothing compared to losing you. He pulled her close. You asked me to find another way. I found one. Is it enough? It's everything. You chose me over violence. Over revenge. Over what your world expected. She struggled for words. That's more than I thought possible. I'm learning. You're teaching me that there are other ways to solve problems. And the people who broke into my apartment? Handled. Non-violently. They've been encouraged to leave Los Angeles. Permanently. I'm not going to ask for details. Probably wise. Ethel pulled back to look at him. What about Vivian? And Aldrich? Aldrich is facing federal charges. He'll be in prison for years. Vivian, she's unhireable. Blacklisted from every luxury retailer in California. Her career is over. Good. They deserve the consequences. They got them. Without anyone dying. Is that acceptable? Yes. It's perfect. You're perfect. I'm really not. But I'm trying to be better. For you. They stood in Luo Yong's penthouse, holding each other, and Ethel thought about how far they'd come. From a racist insult in a jewelry store to this. To negotiate peace. To choose each other despite impossible odds. It wasn't traditional. It wasn't easy. But it was theirs. And that was enough. Luo Yong just gave up $40 million in annual revenue to buy peace for Ethel. Choose negotiation over war. Destroyed an entire jewelry store through legal channels instead of literal fire. Character development looks good on him. The Kangs got their territory. Aldrich got prison. Vivian got unemployed. And Ethel? She got a man who'll rearrange his criminal empire to keep her safe without compromising who she is. Honestly, that's kind of beautiful. In a completely illegal, morally questionable way. But still, beautiful. Subscribe for the resolution. 6 months passed. Ethel moved back to her apartment. After it was completely renovated, new locks installed, and upgraded security in place. She returned to work at the museum, where her colleagues had 1,000 questions about the jewelry store incident that had made news across Los Angeles. She deflected, smiled, pretended it was less dramatic than it was. But everyone knew. Ethel Taylor was dating Luo Yong Choi, and that made her fascinating and terrifying in equal measure. The gold jewelry, most of it sold, proceeds donated, had created a foundation in Ethel's name. The Taylor Foundation for Retail Justice, funding legal support for people facing discrimination in luxury stores. It felt right, turning something ugly into something that helped others. Ethel kept 2 pieces, the bracelet for Odessa, and the necklace Luo Yong had chosen, a delicate gold chain with a small pendant. She wore it daily, reminder of everything that had happened, everything they'd survived. Her relationship with Luo Yong had settled into something that felt sustainable. Dinners 3 times a week, weekends together, but separate lives are maintained. Independence preserved. Luo Yong had stepped back from some of his more violent operations. Not entirely. He was still who he was, but he delegated more, created distance where possible. For Ethel, her family was slowly, grudgingly accepting him. Lorraine remained skeptical but civil. She came to Sunday dinners when Luo Yong was there, spoke to him politely if not warmly. Keisha and Nia had fully embraced him. I found him fascinating. Asked inappropriate questions, he answered with surprising honesty. And Odessa watched everything. Assessing, evaluating, making sure Luo Yong kept his promises. One Saturday, Odessa called Ethel. Bring Luo Yong to the house. Tonight. I want to talk to him. About what? You'll see. That evening, they arrived at Odessa's house to find her alone. No other family. Just her. Sit, she said. Both of you. They sat. Odessa looked at Luo Yong. It's been 6 months since you met my family. Time for evaluation. Okay, Luo Yong said carefully. You've been good for Ethel. I see it. She's happy. Confidence. More herself than I've seen her in years. She's good for me too. I imagine so. But here's what I need you to understand, Mr. Choi. Ethel spent her whole life being excellent, being respectable, being the daughter who did everything right. And she's choosing you, which means choosing a harder path, choosing judgment, choosing danger, choosing to defend a relationship everyone questions. I know. So you better be worth it. You better make sure that what she's sacrificing for you, her easy life, her family's unquestioned approval, her safety, you better make sure it's worth it. Every single day. I spend every day trying to be. Odessa studied him. Good. Because I'm giving you something. And it comes with expectations. She pulled out a small box. Inside, the gold bracelet. The original one. The one Ethel had wanted to buy that day in Beaumont and Carlisle. Ethel never told me the full story, Odessa said. Just that you bought her some jewelry after someone was rude. But I figured out the rest. This was meant for me, wasn't it? Yes, ma'am. For your 80th birthday. Then I should have it. She closed the box. Handed it to Luo Yong. But I'm giving it back. To you. To give to her. When you're ready. When you're sure. Luo Yong understood. She was talking about marriage. Giving her blessing. Conditionally. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. You've got a long road ahead proving you're worth her choice. But so far, Odessa smiled slightly. So far, you're doing okay. Keep doing that. After they left, Ethel asked, what did that mean? The bracelet. It means your grandmother gave me permission to marry you. Eventually. When we're ready. And are we? Ready? I am. But I'm waiting for you. Why? Because I rushed everything else. I want this, if it happens, to be right. When you're sure. When your family's sure. When there's no doubt. Ethel kissed him. You're learning. You're teaching me. Good. Keep learning. Over the next 6 months, they continued building their life together. Not perfect. They still fought about his protective instincts. About her need for independence. About the fundamental tension between his world and hers. But they showed up. Every time. Choosing each other despite the complications. Ethel's foundation grew. She became a voice for people facing discrimination, used her platform, made a difference. Luo Yong's legitimate businesses expanded. He distanced himself more from criminal operations, created separation, built something he could be proud of. One evening, a year after the jewelry store incident, they were having dinner at a restaurant Luo Yong owned. He was quieter than usual. Nervous. "What's wrong?" Ethel asked. "Nothing's wrong. I have something for you." He pulled out a small box. Inside, the gold bracelet. The one Ethel had wanted. The one Odessa had returned. "Your grandmother said I should give this to you when I am ready." When I was sure. Luo Yong's voice was steady, but his hands shook slightly. "I've been ready since the day I walked into that jewelry store and saw you trying to maintain dignity while someone tried to tear you down. You were the strongest, most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. And I knew, absolutely knew, I'd spend the rest of my life making sure nobody ever made you feel less than extraordinary again." Ethel's eyes filled with tears. "That's very romantic. For a marriage proposal. Who said anything about marriage?" Luo Yong grinned. "I'm talking about the bracelet." Luo Yong. He pulled out a second box. Inside, a ring. Simple. Elegant. Gold. Because Ethel's skin was beautiful and gold complemented her perfectly, and anyone who said otherwise could fight him. Ethel Taylor. "Will you marry a man who spent $5 million defending your honor? Who rearranged his entire empire because you asked him to find peaceful solutions? Who loves you more than power or money or anything else in his deeply questionable world?" Ethel laughed through tears. "That's the worst proposal I've ever heard." "Is that a no?" "It's a yes. Obviously it's a yes. But we're working on your romantic delivery." Luo Yong slid the ring onto her finger, kissed her like she was oxygen. And Ethel thought about the journey from that jewelry store to here. About Vivian Laurent, whose racism had inadvertently forced Ethel's relationship into the light. About the gold collection that symbolized both prejudice faced and love defended. About choosing a complicated path over an easy one. About her family learning that respectability wasn't the only measure of worth. About Luo Yong learning that protecting someone meant respecting their autonomy. The bracelet sat on her wrist, the ring on her finger, reminders of where they'd been, promises of where they were going. Some moments change everything. Ethel had walked into a luxury jewelry store and faced casual racism. Had walked out with a relationship exposed, a family tested, and a love proven. Not because grand gestures solve discrimination, but because sometimes, just sometimes, having someone stand beside you when the world tries to diminish you makes all the difference. Vivian Laurent had lost her career. Aldrich Beaumont had lost his freedom. The Kangs had gained territory but lost any leverage over Luo Yong. And Ethel? Ethel had gained everything. A partner, a defender, a future she'd been too afraid to choose until circumstances forced her hand. The gold caught the restaurant's candlelight. Reminder that she was worth defending, worth fighting for, worth territorial concessions and a complete rearrangement of a criminal empire. And most importantly, worth being loved exactly as she was. Dark skin, gold jewelry, complicated choices, and all. The end. From a racist insult in a jewelry store to an engagement ring 1 year later. Ethel and Luo Yong's story proves that sometimes the worst moments create the best transformations. Vivian's prejudice didn't just cost her a career. It exposed a relationship that needed to stop hiding, forced a family to expand their definition of acceptable, and taught a crime lord that protection doesn't mean control. Hit subscribe for next week's story. A homeless veteran discovers the rude businessman who just mocked him is actually the son who abandoned the family 20 years ago. The confrontation will destroy you emotionally. See you there. Real talk. Did Luo Yong's $4.7 million response to racism help or hurt the situation? A. Helped. Public consequences for public prejudice showed Ethel her worth. B. Hurt. Excessive, drew dangerous attention, made Ethel a target. C. Both. Satisfying but created more problems than it solved. D. None of that matters because watching a racist jeweler lose everything is peak satisfaction, and I'm here for it. Drop your answer below and tell us, have you ever witnessed or experienced discrimination in a retail setting? How did you handle it? Also, Should Ethel's family have been more accepting of Luo Yong from the start, or were their concerns about his criminal background completely valid? Sound off in the comments. This story shows us that standing up for the people you love sometimes means making choices that complicate everything. But the right person? They're worth the complication. What do you think?